Very good. And welcome to the final episode of Nadi Digital Economy Malaysia for the year 2021. And we are recording this on the 1st of January, a Saturday. And together with me, when I say we, is my colleague Dzof Azmi. And as usual, we're going to talk about some of the more interesting stories we found that we feel impacted Malaysia's digital economy or has the potential to impact Malaysia's digital economy moving forward. And we're going to start with probably the feel-good story of the year for Malaysia's technology ecosystem. And of course, this was Intel Electronics, US 7 billion, RM 30 billion ringgit, actually 7.1 billion investment into Penang. And this investment will be spread over 10 years. Many of the early articles did not mention that. It's going to be spread over 10 years, but still, you're looking at that, and that is 3 billion ringgit a year, which is no small change, right, by any means. And the Intel thinks that this is going to create at least 4,000 high-paying jobs. And there's been a lot of articles around this already. So we did a piece where we wanted to talk to the ecosystem players, right? So we spoke to Dato Wong, who's the president of the Malaysia Semiconductor Industry Association. And then we spoke to Jaffri Ibrahim from CRES. And CRES is, of course, the Center for Research in Science, Technology and Innovation. They're coming up to their 10th year. And their reason for existence is to ensure that there's closer industry, academia, and when I say industry, it's MNC in the academia, and then Malaysian entrepreneurs, right? Industry companies, SMEs, collaboration. And then we also spoke to the university that is in the heart of Malaysia's Silicon Valley of the East, USM, and we were lucky enough that the VC himself, Dato Rafiq, right? Dzof, if I'm getting his name right, I got to look for his name now. Professor Dato Rafiq Adikan, right? So he gave some interesting comments also. So really the bottom line is that, look, Intel's Pat Gelsinger was in Malaysia, and at the press conference, he said that he made the point that, look, from what was once a US $320,000 investment by Intel back in the late 70s, which was back then 1.6 million ringgit, and even this investment back then probably made the headlines of all the newspapers, right, Dzof? For at least 1 or 2 days, right? 1.6 million ringgit back in the 70s. And it has grown even from then to about, he said it's about just under 6 billion US dollars. And this was before they pumped in their 7.1 billion. So you went from 320,000 US to 6 billion US dollars. And then now you're putting in a further 7 billion. And if you say it was once a very small memory chip facility, it is now one of Intel's most complex assembly, test, manufacturing, R&D sites in the world. Which is why that Pat also said that this is a testament to the quality of their people in Malaysia. They've got 13,000 people, and he says that Malaysia has and will continue to be a critical location for Intel in almost every dimension of our business. Imagine this is one of the most highly advanced companies, businesses in the world, and the CEO is saying this of Malaysian talent. And I know if you've been a regular listener to our Nadi, you know that we have been regularly saying that, attesting to the fact that Malaysia has got world-class talent, and this is Pat Gelsinger of Intel himself saying it, right? And definitely, I can tell you that there's not enough of that world-class talent, absolutely. And we got a story where we're going to talk about that. But we definitely have world-class talent in Malaysia. And we're going to also quickly highlight a Malaysian world-class talent who is actually taking his talent to another company in Amsterdam, right? And he's going to play at the global stage, but that comes later. But coming up to that, Dato Wong, right, Siew, he says that this investment, so Jaffri, first of all, says that he hopes that Intel will actually do more. And when Jaffri says Intel will do more, he hopes that they'll actually have like accelerators here, and they will even start maybe investing, right, in startups here, and further investing in R&D and innovation. So Jaffri is apparently not happy with this 30 billion ringgit. He said, hey, you got to invest more. And also invest in our companies. And also, of course, he knows that he expects that we're going to have a massive boost, right, to our capabilities in moving up the value chain in terms of technology transfer, and of course, strengthening our position in the semiconductor value chain, which is why the headline of my commentary was that this investment is going to compel our entire semiconductor ecosystem to level up. And Dato Wong also said the same thing, and he highlighted four things, right? That he said that you're going to see Malaysia. It reinforces, of course, our position as a critical player in the global semiconductor, value chain, and enhances Penang's status second as the Silicon Valley of the East, because he said not just Intel, you've got likes of Lam Research, Micron, AMD, right, doing research, and of course Keysight Technologies. A lot of players are doing research, global players doing research in Penang. So absolutely, it is one of the hubs in the world, and definitely in Asia. And then he also talks about the fact that it is, one more thing he says, that it also highlights the fact that Malaysia demonstrate that we're a business-friendly government, right? And the government continue to work with industry. And then, by the way, just quickly, Professor Rafiq says that USM is very aware of the key role it plays as a talent generator to ensure that Penang and Malaysia remain relevant. And he made some interesting points about how USM is already doing different and interesting things, right, to enhance the flow of talent coming through. So you go and read the article, please, and he talks about USM +1, and there's something else they talked about, bridge, the word bridge, right, at USM. And there's a link to that also. Some very interesting thing USM is doing just to ensure there's closer industry academic collaboration. Dzof, any last any thoughts to add before we move on?
Yeah, I just wanted to add on a bit and also talk about a little bit about the next story, which is related. It's about Simmtech, it's a South Korean manufacturer. So everyone looks at Intel. Intel is a huge company, of course, $7 billion US is a lot of money. But they are going to be investing 508 million ringgit to build the first large-scale factory in Southeast Asia at Batu Kawan. And I mean, this is not insignificant, Karam, right? And you yourself said,
yeah, correct.
Yeah, the first half of it shows like this isn't just a one-off, because that's one of the questions you're going to have. That in the first half of 2022, that Simmtech is going to be hiring more than 1,000 high-skilled jobs in engineering. So, and what you said just now about the fact that the government is playing its part in attracting these companies, this is the Simmtech Southeast Asian Managing Director said, specifically pointed out the support from federal government agencies, especially MIDA, right? The Malaysian Investment Development Authority, and saying that clearly there's a lot happening behind the scenes. Clearly there's a lot of conversation. So obviously someone somewhere took note of all this and has made the right moves. I think it's great.
Oh, it's good. So the Koreans are here, and you got the Austrians are also here, right? So we already spoke about that. They're coming in. They're opening up their big, substrate, facility in Malaysia also. So we've spoken about it already. So lots of good stuff going on. So now other good stuff. So all this means that there's going to be huge demand for talent, and we've already been kind of hinting about this. So not hinting, we've been talking about that fact that there's huge demand for talent, and because of COVID has reshaped the rules of engagement in how employees can work, right, for someone. You just at the switch of a keyboard, right, at the click of a keyboard, you can change jobs, right, and you're working for somebody anywhere in the world. And of course, for Malaysia, the real threat is from companies which are going to pay in Sing dollars or US dollars. And I think both me and Dzof know of people who are working already for companies like that, which is quite scary. Yes. So, yeah, exactly, right. So go ahead, Dzof, you want to say something? No, I'll carry on.
Well, I just, because this is the point, right? So the question that you need to ask, Karam, is what on earth can Malaysian companies do to try to attract talent to their companies, right?
So here comes, so sorry, when you say what they can do, right? Go ahead and carry on. Sorry, I'm interrupting you, and then I'll introduce what we are trying to do at DNA, right? With some ecosystem leaders. Go ahead, Dzof.
Because what I'm trying to say is, the simple answer, which is pay them more money, isn't really going to be workable. We have to be frank here that yes, Malaysian companies can try to pay more money, But in order to compete with the Singapores of the world, it's going to be challenging. You can't match them dollar for dollar. So what can you do, Kara?
Yeah. So look, when we realize this, right, that it's going to be harder for companies to retain talent, and especially technical and digital marketing talent, because when I speak to founders all the time, I keep hearing these are the two biggest pain points for them. Basically, what I found out also is that companies which have a strong culture have a better chance of retaining your talent and attracting talent. And that is an issue also among startups in Malaysia, because startups tend to want to focus on culture when they are raising their Series A, and I've been hearing of that. And I've got some anecdotes about that also. And why Series A? Because Series A is when you start bringing your first round of serious money. And obviously, most of that money goes to hiring better quality talent. And investors then start asking you, so what have you done, to create a culture where talent will want to come and join your company? So not just because you raise Series A and you can pay more money. And what are you doing to retain your talent? So they start working on it then. But the contention is, with the rules of engagement of employment having changed thanks to COVID, companies have to start before they have raised their Series A, even at the beginning stages, right, to start putting in the foundations to create a strong work culture. And what is that work culture? So DNA has joined together with Hiredly, and Hiredly is a recruitment company, right, that focuses on your millennials and your centennials, to helping them to build meaningful careers. And then the two of us have come together and we said, let's create a list. We're not calling it an award. So we are introducing something called the Harimau X Startup, right? And this is actually a list to highlight Malaysian startups in three categories, and this is designated by the number of employees you have, because apparently the number of employees you have will dictate how your culture also changes to adapt to that. So that you can go and you can download the form from I know there's a of course Google form that you can download, and then you can fill in the questions and submit your entry. And then we will judge it to see whether you qualify to be a Harimau X startup. And if you do, you will get a very cool NFT. And there will also be a prize where Suresh Thiru, who is one of the founders of JobStreet, and he became the Asia CEO for Seek, SEEK, which is the Australian HR company that bought JobStreet. He will mentor the winners of each of the three, one winner each, right, from each category, for a period of 1 year. Once a quarter, not every month, right, because he's obviously doing a lot of things, but these three winners, he will mentor them once a quarter, every 3 months. So that is also a very attractive incentive for you to try to show us what you have been doing so far. And we've got three categories, three highlight categories, and under there various sub-metrics. And you need to answer questions about what you're doing. And then when I say we, meaning we've got 6 accelerators in Malaysia which have partnered with us because they see the value of this. You've got, I try to go alphabetically, right? You've got your 1337, which runs Alpha. You've got your, let me see, alphabetically, the Alpha, etc. Then you've got Adlin Yusman with Endeavour Malaysia. It's not alphabetical now, right? You've got Ben Lim from Nexia, which is running Corporate Accelerator.
No.
And then you've got a Matt Lewin from Sunway iLabs, right? And they run the iLab Accelerator. Then you've got Sam from not from Pitchen, but Sam in his capacity as they're running WTF Accelerator. So we've got them also. And I feel like I'm missing one party, is it? And you've got Aaron Salma, right? And Zelia Tong from Scale Up Malaysia. So we've got the top leading accelerators in Malaysia supporting this initiative also. I think it's very exciting. Please go and fill up the form and show us what you've done so far. We actually think that not many startups in Malaysia in the various stages have been doing a lot to emphasize their culture. But we hope that through this introduction of this, all entrepreneurs, all founders will realize that culture is very important. It has to be done immediately and not wait till 18 months or 20 months or 24 months or 36 months, right? When you're hitting the Series A, before you say now I focus on culture. So that's that about the introduction of this, our scale, our Harimau X startup, ranking or list recognition. So it's so new that I'm still struggling with whether we're definitely not calling it an award, right? It's a list we're going to create. So if you get on the list, it shows that people will probably want to work for you. Hey, that's a Harimau X startup, right? Hey, I want to go and work with them, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of creating transparency in a sense, right? And sort of showing or sharing or giving like benchmarks or something like that. That says, look, if these startups can do it, so can you.
So can you? Absolutely, Dzof. You put it very well. Okay, we got to quickly rush through the last few stories now, Dzof. Shall you?
Yes,
shall you? Do you want to go through first?
Yeah. So very quickly, of the best of the rest, as it were. The Department of Statistics Malaysia has collaborated with the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry, and they're putting up something called My Price Dashboard. It's basically an regularly updated list of what the prices of foodstuffs are in your local markets. So if you go to the local pasar and you're thinking, hey, this is more expensive than I thought it was, you can go to this website and you can look at what they have, and they'll tell you, oh, over the last few weeks, this is what the price of tomatoes has been, for example. No, it used to be like about 4 ringgit early November, and now it's closer to 5 ringgit. So it's there, it's transparent. You know if your local vegetable seller is giving you a fair price or not. So it's a good thing.
And it's being updated daily, and there are about 137 outlets being featured, including wet markets and Tesco and even My Grocer also. So well done, Stephen Sanchez, right, for getting yourself, on this list also. Now to the quick last one is, which to me is one of the stories of the year. So 5G, of course, is one of the stories of the year. But within 5G, our Finance Minister, Tunku Zafrul, then, on the 10th of December, he produced a very, point by point based on timeline. Timeline, right? Okay, I use the timeline word twice, but a point by point based explanation based on timeline of how Malaysia's 5G has evolved, right? And why the government came to the decision that this single wholesale network company will be owned by the government. And if you are a fan of the telcos, you will question you being a fan of them, because it lays very clearly that the government only resorted to this because the telcos failed in their responsibility of delivering, world-class 4G for Malaysia. They failed in rolling it out to many more Malaysians as they could. As a result, the government is investing extra, what, Dzof, you said 25 billion ringgit? Okay, Dzof,
it was...
I put
yes, it was in the billions of ringgit.
Yeah, it's in the 20 plus, about 25 billion ringgit extra to help close the gap and to push it up to like 95%, right, or more 4G coverage, and to increase the speed also. So, so really, poor form on our telcos, but read that, it's amazing, and we'll see you again next week during our first show for 2022. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.